Thanks for tuning in right here to TechVibe Pittsburgh. This is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and this is your front row seat to all the great stuff happening here in Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. And today we are talking to Daniel Mihalcik of MCM Learning, and this is a really unique company just doing a lot of different things that I'm really excited to learn more about today, Daniel. So thanks for hanging out with me today so I can learn more about this, which means our listeners can learn more about what's going on. So thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
First and foremost, with MCM, give me the elevator pitch. Like we just hit the third floor at the Rivers Club and I'm like, hey, what's up? Tell me, what is up with MCM? Give us the overview.
Yeah. So MCM's been in business for over 35 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't there during its inception. Ned Piccinini's the founder and president.
Okay.
It's a Michigan-based company north of Detroit, currently located in Sterling Heights at the Velocity building. It originated doing audio and video work in 1991, which back then technology was much different.
Just a little. Last time I checked.
He couldn't just walk into a room and take videos with your phone. There was a lot more equipment involved and skill sets, right? The industries originally were automotive, construction, and medical. And the purpose was to design and build essentially tailored performance-based training, both in technical and non-technical.
Yeah.
And automotive was a big customer for
Detroit,
many years.
there you go.
Right?
Absolutely.
Until 2008 and 2009 era when most of them went bankrupt.
I remember a little thing happening in 2008, 2009 with the car industry and the economy in general.
Yes. Not just automotive. But,
exactly.
The pivot got into, at the time, Department of Defense work, not Department of War. And anybody listening would probably understand it's not easy to get into the defense industry. And not necessarily once you're in, it's a golden ticket and a free ride. So there's been a lot of work since about 2010 to bring the company to where it's at today.
That's an amazing story in some ways. You pivoted as the need has, and also you're changing your technologies as technology changes, which has obviously changed immensely since 1991.
Sure.
It's funny, I think back to like 1991, I'm like, I was in college. I'm thinking, I can't imagine like having a phone that you had in your pocket that would actually be a computer and a camera and video and everything and as well. And so you've evolved with those times. I think it's really exciting, and just learning more about some of the things that you actually do, especially in the defense space. We find that so interesting here at the Tech Council. We see that as such a great space for so many of our member companies here, especially a lot of startups and stuff that have some really cool solutions, and they're trying to find ways to get them into the marketplace, and often the government's a great first customer for some of that stuff. I also just love the fact that I love technologies that are being used to keep our troops safe, keep our country safe, and everything in between. As far as that is, I think it's just an amazing space to be in. So tell us like how much you are into the military side of what you guys do.
For sure. So I guess a little background. I did 20 years in the Marine Corps.
Awesome.
I retired. I met Ned a few years ago before I got out and have been working with him since. So together we're, both him and I and our team obviously, or branching out and moving forward.
Okay.
A lot of our business is in Michigan with the Detroit Arsenal, which is the big headquarters for a lot of the Army programs.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'm a resident here in Pittsburgh, so understanding what is happening in Pittsburgh with tech and companies and startups like you mentioned, and just business
Absolutely.
with the federal government, we thought it would be a great opportunity to apply some of our strategies here.
For sure.
And network. So
I love seeing that. The fact that you're there in Detroit, which also it's not that far of a drive to get from here to there isn't awful.
It depends on the traffic.
It depends on the traffic, but the idea that you're able to take what's happening there and expand that into Pittsburgh where you're taking the reins here.
So there's a couple of different approaches to it, if you will. One being a customer, having the federal government as a customer and working for them. And ultimately, the end state is the service members receive the equipment and the gear that they need that's effective and usable and not junk that just made it through the government acquisitions program.
Gotcha.
Because of all the red tape and bureaucracy.
Exactly.
So in our company, many of us are prior military, which is great, but the ones that aren't prior military have been supporting the military and or the local environment.
Absolutely.
Regardless. And why that's important is because we understand what it is to receive equipment and to use equipment.
Yeah, you've been in the trenches, literally
Right.
and figuratively, which I think is amazing. The idea that having a 20-year career with the Marines, pretty amazing stuff, and being able to take that knowledge and bring that to the private sector, but to continue to help the Marines in the Army and defense in general and stuff like that, I think is pretty cool.
So I guess it acts like a natural filter.
Surely.
So not only do we work directly with program offices and programs in the military, but we also partner with mostly engineering companies,
That makes sense.
all types of engineering, but who are focused on their product. Either their product has been bought by the Army,
Okay.
or they're in competitive prototype
Mhm.
competition for it. What they don't understand, not all of them, but what we have discovered and why we want to do this podcast and why we're out and about making ourselves known is because there's a section in the contract for the government, which is essentially all the logistics support. So we call it integrated product support. So where MCM had started with audio video and training and curriculum development is one of the pillars of integrated product support that's required
Okay.
to become a widget,
Yeah.
whatever, to become a program of record.
The government needs to have something that they can look at, a manual, a
Right.
diagram, whatever that might be, in order to go with that product. So, yeah, so maybe tell me a bit how you work with maybe a customer in order to provide the documentation and the types of training and manuals and stuff that they
Sure.
need in
Yeah,
order to get
absolutely.
that into the government.
So with what we do, it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
We're able to do everything in-house, not just focusing on training, but also focusing on technical manuals. So there's operator manuals,
Yeah.
maintenance manuals, provisioning of parts, drawings, all these things, right, have to happen, and it has to be written in a certain language.
Exactly.
standard
Yeah. It's got to
language.
meet their standards and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah.
And sometimes it needs to be translated. We do a lot of for military sales cases. It needs to be translated into other languages, so we are able to do that as well.
Oh, interesting. I never even thought about that.
And it's
yeah.
not by using Google Translate.
It's not? Oh,
No.
come on, man.
Not all software fits all languages.
It's so
That's
accurate
okay.
though, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we're aware of and uncover. So to answer your question, in an instance, we talk to a company that has a product, again, either has just been bought by or is a pending purchase by the U.S. government. What we can do is we go in and work with them. A lot of times we find engineers write in engineer speak. That engineer speak doesn't carry over to soldier speak. So we can get in there and essentially translate engineer language into usable soldier language.
Exactly. I'd love to see some funniness there. Got to be some interesting cases of what?
It's not always wild either. It's just how it needs to be
done.
the verbiage
Absolutely.
and the words you can and can't use
Jeez.
for the mill standard,
Gotcha.
and still having it make sense so that the 18-year-old would
Can
understand
read this manual and know how to use the
the engineer with 20 or
device.
30 years of experience is trying to say.
Yes.
And that's part of it, right? So what we like to do is partner with these companies in a sense where we also bear the burden of their programs. We're not just,
Okay.
if you call your phone company,
Yeah.
and they'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're having issues with your phone. Let me put you on hold and see what we can do for you. We'll send you out a new phone or whatever." But it's not the same it's not a relationship. You don't
Yeah.
know the person, you don't see them.
They're not coming over to
They're
check
not-
the phone out for
Right.
us.
And if they knew that was an issue, they don't call you and say, "You're probably going to have this issue with your phone." Right? So what we like to do is, in Michigan, there's a few companies in Michigan that we work with, Virginia, DC area, Texas, and Pittsburgh as well, right? Obviously. So to go in and say, "Look, you have this product, you have an operator's manual that you wrote for it, that Joe the engineer wrote. It's good, but if you hand this to a soldier, it's not going to be in the format and language that he understands. So what we can do, especially if you're going after a project, or if you have, let's talk about going after
Surely.
a contract.
Surely.
If company A and company B are competing with each other, we work with company A and not company B. Their products do basically the same thing, right? They meet the same requirements.
But you're going to help them differentiate themselves more,
If
right?
company A brings us on and we help them along in the production of their training and or the manual that is going to be handed over to the service member
Yeah.
to use the system, that soldier, if everything is near perfect and near the same between the two, and the soldier says they already came with this, and I understand how to do it because of how it's written, then that doesn't guarantee that they're going to win it, but it helps.
Definitely helps for
And then
sure.
it also helps the federal government program office because it accelerates their timeline now. So where hypothetically they win a contract, now they have to write a tech manual and do the training.
They already got the manual, so
Could
they
be-
can deploy this
Right,
faster.
12 to 18 months.
Oh, really? It can be like that long.
That
Okay.
long.
Wow. Okay.
But we can give them a near mill standard tech manual because there's still other events that need to happen, a validation and a verification event. But we can give them, let's say, a 70% ready tech manual, and then all the other stuff is just cleanup.
Interesting.
So another difference is in the business of tech manuals, in the federal government, things change all the time, right? They're the customer. They're going to get what they want. And that's how it should be, right?
Absolutely.
So changes come down. In engineering, changes come down and have to be made. So what we see and what we strive to do is not charge for those changes unless they're incredibly significant. But if the government, the program office comes down, or the company that we're partnering with says, hey, look, we got to change happy to glad on all this stuff. We know that a lot of companies are like, all right, that's fine. We're going to charge you for it. With us, we're already dedicated to being that partner, and that's the purpose of trying to
it makes so much
expedite
sense.
action.
Yeah, I feel like you become this fifth Beatle
Sure.
almost within the organization that's trying to win that contract, and you're there. You got their back. You're providing them the things they need that the government's going to help them get that product into the field faster. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's a very cool way to go about it. I'm really curious with you being here in Pittsburgh. Where are some areas that you're seeing, like what has you most excited now about being in Pittsburgh and seeing some of the opportunities here for MCM?
Yeah, sure. Vehicle autonomy is one of them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Drones is obviously a big buzz going on right now.
We got lots of drones and lots of autonomy going on here in Pittsburgh. That's for sure.
It could be anything. What we don't sell is an off-the-shelf product.
Of course.
What we like to go about it is it's tailored and it's needs-based. So every contract's different. Every end user, every customer's a little bit different, right? So it's understanding the final point of delivery. Who is it? What does it need to do? How fast? How in depth? Whatever the case is, and then tailor our efforts towards that.
You see that endpoint, and from there you do a custom solution that wraps around these days. It's not just something you put this on here, you're ready to go. It's you literally look at what needs to be done
And
put all that together, work
right?
your way back, and then start, and then get to that endpoint again.
Another area of interest is cybersecurity.
Ooh, tell me more about that. I wasn't even thinking around the idea that there are cybersecurity products out there
No,
that
absolutely.
the military needs. So that's very interesting. I'm thinking like hardware and things like that. Yeah, let's talk cybersecurity.
Yeah, cybersecurity. So that falls more into our training pillar.
That makes sense. Sure.
But we have a good team section, if you will, that's been doing cybersecurity since cybersecurity was really a thing, late 2000s,
Sure.
maybe. So a lot of experience, a lot of curriculum already developed that can be tailored, or that's off the shelf, but it's not going to be the same for K through 12 as it is for.
I was going to say how the military tends to use or need, or what their needs are within cybersecurity, which probably has to be at a much higher level than you would for many applications, I would think.
Yeah, there's so much to it that it's some people enjoy it.
Hey, I'm glad they do, because we need those people. It just makes my brain go bleh.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how that works, but sure.
I'm glad you do. And make sure we have that.
But it's out of control now with AI. Just the spam emails that look so real, and even just clicking yes or no, like having that awareness can destroy a small business or any business.
Absolutely.
But I think it's important for cybersecurity that it is taught at the lowest level possible. It is a language that should be known, and it's everywhere now. Pretty much any work environment you go into, you should have some level of awareness of
100%. That is 100%.
But the job market is also very good for it, is what I understand.
I've heard similar tales. That's for sure. It's really exciting. I don't know. I just look at everything that you guys are doing, and it's very unique. And I think about just the importance of some of this stuff. Like I said, it pulls at my heartstrings a little bit when I know that there's folks working on solutions and things like that are out there to keep our country strong, keep us safe, and keep our troops safe. And everything like that. I think I can't think of a cooler way for you to be living your civilian life and you're completely pulling off on what you've done with your 20 years of service with the Marines, which I have to say thank you for your service, because that's some commitment right there. That's really awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Fun stuff. I can't thank you enough for stopping by and telling us a little bit what's going on. Of course, we have links to your website and so forth like that, so people want to learn more. And because I think so many of our companies here are really looking at, I would like to sell some things to the government. That is a great way to get my product out there. And I think partnering with a company like yours is definitely a way that you can be very helpful and helping them make sure that as they need to document their stuff and provide training and so forth, that you can do that in a way that it's going to be very useful for the government.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good stuff, Daniel. I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So
We love telling stories and letting people know there's guys like Dan out there doing good work. So check them out. Great stuff. Once again, in case you forgot, this is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Tech Council and TechVibe Radio. Love having these conversations each and every day.